Umar, can you hear
Yes.
me? Okay.
Yes.
The first question is that do you know when do we read lam thick?
Yes.
Lam with thick sound. When do we read lam with thick sound? When?
When it's in Allah's name.
When it comes in
Allah's name.
Allah's name. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Very good. So can you please give me any example?
Hmm?
Yes.
What?
Give me any example that lam is coming in Allah's name and we are reading the name of Allah thick. Can you give me any example?
Lo.
So read the whole word.
Allahumma.
Good job. Allahumma.
Allahumma.
Can we say Allahumma?
No.
Why?
Because then it's not thick.
Because
It's not thick.
it's not thick. Why do we read it thick here?
Because that's how his name is.
Because
That's how his name is.
say louder.
And that's how his name is.
Say because it's Allah's name. Why we read this one Allah, this one lam thick? Say
Because
because
it's
it came in
Allah's
Allah's
name.
name.
It's Allah's.
Yeah. Say because lam came in the name of
Allah.
Allah. Yes. So that's why we are reading lam thick. That's good, mashallah. So can you give me any other example that we are reading lam thick in Allah's name? Say yes.
Yeah.
Okay, read this one. Easy
Min
example.
Allahi.
Min Allahi and qalu Allah. What is this?
Qalullahi.
قالوا اللهم. Okay, so the next question. The first question was that why we read lam? No, how do we read lam? You said we read lam thick when it comes in Allah's name. That's good, mashallah. So before this one question, I'll ask you that how do we read lam? You have to say we read lam thin, right?
Yeah.
How do we read lam?
We learn thin.
This is first question. How do you know that we read lam thin? Say because I read at the first page, Ain, Ghain, Fa, Qaf, Kaf, Lam, Mim, Nun. I didn't read Qaf, Kaf, Lom, Mim. What did you read over there?
I read
Say I read Qaf, Kaf, Lam, Mim. What you read over there?
Lam Mim.
Lam, Mim, Nun. That's your good answer that we read lam thin. So the second question. Second question is that can we read lam always thin? Say no.
No.
Sometime thick. Say
Yeah.
sometime we read it thick.
Yeah, like in Allah's name.
Okay, the second question is that when do we read lam thick? Say when it comes in Allah's name.
When it comes in Allah's
And
name.
you gave me two examples as well. You said Allahumma qalu Allahumma min Allahi. You said lam was coming in Allah's name, and I gave you these three examples. In these examples, there was Allah's name. That's good, mashallah. So the third question: can we read Allah's lam always thick? Say no.
No.
Sometimes Allah's name thin.
Yes. Sometimes it
Say
has to be thin.
So the third question is that when do we read Allah's name, the lam of Allah's name, thin?
When it comes in Allah's name.
No, beta. When do we read Allah's lam, right? Allah's lam, right? The lam is coming in Allah's name. When we read this one lam, Allah's lam, when we read thin, say when there is kasra before Allah's lam.
When there's kasra before Allah's name.
So this one was the third question. You are a little bit wrong in it, but no problem. So tomorrow you have to read this one before any mistake, okay? So tell me the third same question I'm asking you. I'll say when do we read Allah's lam thin? You have to say when there is kasra before Allah's lam. So when do we read Allah's lam thin?
When there's kasra before it.
Can you give me any example when there is kasra before Allah's lam? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay, read.
Alihumma
Not Alihumma. Say billahi.
billahi.
Yes, I think you are looking outside. What is over there outside? The
I'm
weather
not
is so
looking
good.
outside. I'm not looking.
I'm putting my arrow here, billahi, and you are saying ilihumma. Where is ilihumma? So this is billahi. I'm pointing again and again, again and again, again and again. I'm pointing here that billahi, there is lam. In Allah's lam, there is kasra before Allah's lam, and you should have read that billahi, lillahi. You already read this one, these examples. I'm just going to make you revise your lesson, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So when do we read Allah's lam thin? When there is kasra.
Before.
Yes, before it. Okay, tell me. Which example is this?
Billahi.
Is there kasra before Allah's name, Allah's lam here?
Yes.
So what letter has kasra?
Lam.
No, not lam has kasra. What's the first letter before lam? Before Allah's lam? Say because I'm looking outside, I don't know.
Ba. It's ba.
Yes, it's ba. That's good. Okay. So it's before Allah's lam. The next letter, the first letter has the first letter is alif, and before alif, then there is ba because alif is empty. The first lam is empty. So the first letter before Allah's lam there is ba, and ba has kasra, right? So that's why we are reading thin. Okay, that's good answer. So now the fourth question is that uh, the fourth question is that listen. Read this one. The fourth question is that over here, the fourth question is that can we read this one lam thick because there is fatha? Can we read lam this one thick?
No.
No. Why we don't read this one lam thick?
Because there's no
Even
there is no standing fatha.
there is no standing fatha. Wrong answer. In the word wal layli, why we don't read lam thick? We read it thin. Why?
Because there's it's wow for the beginning.
No, no, no. Look over here. We read that Allahumma. There was fatha at the beginning. We were reading lam thick, and in the word wal layli there is also fatha. And why we are not reading lam thick?
Because there's not. Wait, what? What did you say?
Because
Can you tell me what you said again?
I said in the word wal layli, why we don't read lam thick? Over here we are reading lam thin. Why? Why we are reading thin?
Like billahi.
There is fatha before this one lam. In the word wal layli, there is fatha before lam. In the word Allahumma, there was fatha before lam. We were reading thick. Allah. Over here also there is fatha. Why we are reading thin here?
Because
And upper where there is minallahi, there was fatha before Allah's lam. Before lam there was before Allah's lam there was fatha. And in the below one word there is fatha before lam. Why we are not reading this one thick?
because there is fatha.
Because there was fatha, we were reading thick upper there, and the below one we are reading thin. Why? Even there is fatha. Why we are reading this one lam thin? Say because I don't understand your question.
I don't understand the questions.
So how can I tell you question 3 times? I told you. So upper there is there lam? Say yes.
Yes.
So before lam there is fatha in the word minallahi. Say yes.
Yes, actually. Yes.
What are you doing? Are you doing something with your hands? Is there anything in your hand like
No.
toys? So then pay attention. I'm saying that in the word minallahi there is fatha and we are reading thick. And over here in the word wallayli there is also fatha and we are reading thin. Why?
Because one is different. Minallahi has meme and a noon.
Same things there are. There is fatha and there is also fatha before lam. Why we are reading upper there thick and over here thin? Even this things are same. Say I don't know. Please tell me answer.
I don't know. I can't
Okay,
understand.
say no problem. There is fatha before both of them, but wal layli is not Allah's name. Why we are
Oh,
not reading thick?
because Walayli isn't Allah's name.
Why we are reading thick? This one min Allahi. Say because in this there is
Because
Allah's
it
name.
is Allah's name.
In the word wal-layli mean that one night, and min Allah means Allah say, Allah ke saath, right? Like that.
Yeah.
So that's why min Allahi there is Allah's name, and we talked about the first question was that third question, second question was that can we read always lam thin? You said no. When it comes in Allah's name, we read it thick. So then the third question was that can we read Allah's lam always thick? You said no. Sometimes we read it thin when there is kasra before it. So I told you it means the third question was that the fourth question was that according to third question that it means if there is fatha or dhamma then it will be thick, and if there is kasra then it will be thin. So I asked you the fourth question that okay, if there is fatha you told me in Allah's name, so can we read it there is also fatha in the word wallayli? You will say no, because we talked about Allah's name, Allah's lam. Say this is not Allah's lam in the word
Yeah.
wallayli. Is that Allah's lam in the word wallayli?
No.
Okay. So now tell me the last question again. Uh, in the word wallayli there is fatha. Why we don't read it thick?
Huh?
In the word wallayli there is fatha before lam. So why we don't read it thick?
Because that's not Allah's name.
Because
That's not Allah's name.
good job. Okay. So these things you have to tell me tomorrow. Okay.